Hello, sumo fans. Boy, this has been a tournament. I'll tell you what. Unfortunately, Rhea and I could not get together to do this as a duo show, but we still wanted to do something, so I'm going to be doing another solo act. We should be back to the dynamic duo for July, but for the time being, I will wrap this up. First and foremost, congratulations to Terunofuji, which I did not think I'd be saying this sentence a week ago. He got it done. Yokozuna dominance, cleaning up the mess at the very last second. Very fun tournament. Oh, just twists and turns. Everything had something going on. This is the kind of stuff we absolutely love. I'm going to get this out of the way up front. I know it's going to leak into my other commentary later on, but I want to put this and then move on so that I don't go off on a bender. Weird matchup calling, the judging, some weird stuff. The mono weed, not enough, then too much. I'm just gonna I'll call it a factor. Might have been a different tournament, but if you get into what ifs, then you'll just be speculating yourself till the cows come home. But I'll say that there's some weirdness there. It sounded like there were new judges that they were going on. There's some, I don't know what, but couple. I know it's gonna leak out. There's a couple people that I'm like, ugh, but I'm just gonna say that's it's a factor here. But I mean, it's a part of sumo. You do the judges' calls, it's part of sports. Is that you have the referees? They make a call, then you're like, that was a bum call, blah 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 blah. And it's love of the game, etc. You just gotta roll with it. So got that done. Hopefully I'll be able to restrain myself. We'll see how it happens. So first and foremost, we start at the top as we always do with Terunofuji. 12-3 record, which turned out to be the winning score. Immortal no longer. It seems that the timer's going off on part of Terunofuji. Thankfully, not all of it. Earlier on, particularly, we were concerned that Terunofuji was going to be backing out again when he was, 5-3. We're like, is he be able to hold this together? He was able to hold it together. Basically, anybody who touched Terunofuji's belt had the kiss of death. Don't grapple this man. He will get you done. And he was able to impose his will in the Yokozuna way. Maria mentions mortal, but still the strongest man left in Suno. His Kimidashi is one of the scariest moves in sumo. Yeah, the double arm clamp thing is absolutely brutal to watch. And these people just collapse like they've been destroyed. Definitely showing the Yokozuna pride. Another Maria comment. So it's good that somebody at the top is doing well. His durability is suspect, but when he was fighting Takayasu and Wakatakakage, those are people that pushed him to his limits, it feels like. And Terunofuji was still able to hold firm. I feel like if Terunofuji was not physically or mentally up to the task, that those are also losses that would have hit. So, glad to see it. Again, congratulations, Terunofuji. Got his Yusho back on track to his double digits by the end of the year. I'd like to see how far this goes. And obviously, we want to keep Terunofuji around. But anyway. Next up, Mitakeumi. 6-9. Welcome to Katoban, Mitakeumi. Hot and cold sumo. It feels like this is sort of a return to form. This is the career Sanyaku Mitakeumi coming back. Maria's the curse of Ozeki has struck. Possibly that there's an injury. Possibly he's just in the doldrums when she realizes how crap being an Ozeki can actually be and how different it is from everything else. It's just a rough life. And for me, the telling losses to Hoshoryu, Daieisho, and Takanosho, these are people that Mitakeumi historically beats, or at least in the last year or two. And for me, that was Mitakeumi is not as a step behind this tournament, or everybody else was just that little bit hungrier. And we will see what Katoban does to him. It does sort of shake people up. It gives them a little bit more hunger or perhaps desperation in their sumo. Mitakeumi will need that. Unfortunately, the wonderful pole vaulting into Yokozuna that we all hoped is going to pass by Mitakeumi, at least for now. At least for now. Again, very important to keep in mind. Mitakeumi has been an Ozeki for 2 basho. He's still figuring this mess out, and boys, can Ozeki be a rough day for you sometimes. I wouldn't say this is a problem. I wouldn't say this is super bad. I mean, well, you don't want Katoban. You don't want 6 and 9 to be the middle score for Ozeki. Well, is what it is, I guess. Mitakeumi come back with a little bit more spice. Get that hunger. Double-digit wins, I think, would be a good statement for him. But we'll talk about that in July. Up next, we have Shodai. 5 and 10. So, safe to say that the Miracle Shodai that ended March has packed its bags and left. We all hoped it would translate over, that he would just take this momentum and he would just get on the train and go and get a Yusho or something. That clearly was not the case when he was 1 and 6 off the rip. From there, I looked to week 2 Shodai. I figured maybe Shodai has sort of like this regrouping. Like, it does seem that Shodai needs some sort of pressure in order to perform, and that he doesn't have like the natural aggression. At least these days, he just pulled a little. I remember back when he got that Yusho, he just pulled it out of nowhere. He's just like, I got this. I figured it out. He just woke up one day and it was like the sun was shining, the birds were singing, the grass was a beautiful shade of green, and Shodai became Ozeki, and that was. As more time goes by, the less I see that out of him, which is unfortunate. Maybe he just needs that Katoban to do well. Maria thinks that Shodai is just not going to last in Ozeki for much longer. I'm inclined to agree. I'm hoping, like, you see the Shodai, you're like, oh, he's got this. He'll figure it out. He'll do something, and then Shodai does this stuff. So, but 2 Ozeki Katoban. Almost had 3, but Takakeisho 8 and 7 just grits through it. And oh man, this was a lot to unpack. I called this Plan B Takakeisho, because Plan A for Takakeisho is always the same thing. He just blasts forward, and then the guy can't do anything, and he falls away. So Plan B is whenever Takakeisho hasn't won in the first 3 seconds, and then what do you do for the remaining 2 to 7 seconds of the match? That's where Takakeisho's sumo sense really shined, and that's when you can you can see him, like, sometimes he can see the matrix, and that he'll just read someone's movement and react to it perfectly. He got a belt win versus Kiribayama, which is bonkers, but Kiribayama had his own issues. We'll get to that later. He has this haymaker crack that he throws every once in a while, particularly when he's trying to break a stalemate. And Hoshoryu got one of those and staggered out. And I'm pretty sure that's like the kind of power that could just knock out 99% of the human population. So Takakeisho still has there's still power, there's still control, there's still dominance in there. It's just he's struggling against everything. I'm hesitant to call it mental for Takakeisho, but it did seem that there were sometimes things didn't connect. But 8 and 7, he didn't Katoban. It's just a shame that the best Ozeki score is 8 and 7 this tournament. I mean, that wraps up everything you need to know about the state of Ozeki these days. Maria says Takakeisho went back to the purple Mawashi that brought him quickly up the ranks. I did not notice that, but that's a good call out. A little bit of good luck there, maybe. Takakeisho has lost significant power, and Maria guesses it's due to the neck injury and whatever other injuries. Pick a body part. Takakeisho has a problem with it these days. The heart, as Maria is off to say, is definitely there for Takakeisho. Takakeisho will always fight. Will always just die on that sword, and I mean, that's part of what makes Takakeisho so great and fun to watch. I think that's why he got the 8 and 7. When he fought Terunofuji, that was a great match. It was strong. I feel like Takakeisho was a little doomed when he couldn't get Terunofuji out immediately. Like Terunofuji's all of his losses are against pusher thrusters. It was just somebody blasting him out. And so when Takakeisho didn't just crush him out in the first 5 seconds, I'm like, oh, this is probably a problem. I love there's that moment that they were fighting. They break off and then they stare at each other for like 2 seconds. Not long, but like long enough for like the moment for like that Wild West showdown moment to sink in. And then Takakeisho just goes right back in. I was like, yes! Oh, it's good sumo. It's fun. Like, this is why we're all here. That kind of stuff. But yeah, Takakeisho, congratulations. You did not get a losing record. Wow. Wowie zowie. Well, is the state of things. So next up, Wakatakakage, Sekiwake 1 East, 9-6. I was confused for a little bit. A lot of the news and the commentary about Wakatakakage in the first week were talking about how his Ozeki run was like on the line. It was over. He got like 4 or 5 losses. We're like, no Ozeki for him. And I'm like, what? This is only round 1. But it turns out that they were counting Waka's Megashiro 1 record of 9-6. And I guess what would have happened, and this is news to me, maybe everybody knows this but me, but I guess that they were going to honor the Megashira record with the 12-3 Yusho win in March. And if he did, so I guess if he did, let's see, like 12 wins, they would have given it to him. I thought, and again, I don't know these things, I thought normally you had to be in Sanyaku to be in an Ozeki run. I'm guessing that because he was East Megashira 1, like absolutely as close as you can, and he was promoted to East Megashira 1, like they intentionally did not put him in Sanyaku, that maybe they sort of did a little bit of a hand wave. I don't know, but, well, regardless, definitely did not get Ozeki with a 9-6. Thankfully, he got the 9-6, though. It keeps the Ozeki run at least alive now. He's does need another 12 wins in order to bag that. It's going to make a tough July for him. He was struggling a little bit out there. The 9-6 for me, if nothing else, proves that this is where Wakatakakage belongs. Upper ranks of Sekiwake, Sanyaku, knocking on the door. Maria wonders if Waka was a little bit tired out. All the success, all the Yusho parties, the interview, and that's another angle to this that I constantly forget, is that like once you win the Yusho, then you're on parades, then you're doing the media tour, then you're doing this and that, and it's all of a sudden there's a lot of attention and a lot of time requirements, commitments pulling you from your sumo, pulling you from your day-to-day. So it's possible that because that was Wakatakakage's first Yusho, that all of a sudden this new increase in demands for him to go in cars and wave flags and kiss babies and do all that stuff is like could have thrown something in the mix. Good learning experience, Maria says. I agree. I think Wakatakakage will be fighting for it in July because he gets 12 wins, 13 wins, another Yusho in July. He's Ozeki, and I think like 11 wins and maybe in contention. I don't know. We're getting into July here, but Wakatakakage still showing the power, the grit, the durability that you need. His Iron Man match with Mitakeumi, he outworked Mitakeumi, which was fascinating to watch. Mitakeumi, known for having a good gas tank, known for pushing the pressure, known for not buckling. But they fought for a long time, and then when Wakatakakage pushed him out, Mitakeumi immediately like doubled over and heaved for breath. And I was like, oh man, Waka just out-biked him. That was like, ooh, that's a really good, something to keep in mind. That's a tool in his toolbox. That's the kind of stuff. I get these 1 or 2 wins, get them, you're good. Anyway, so, I mean, all eyes on Wakatakakage. I have a feeling that's just going to be his life from now on. And I am looking forward to July for him. He's going to be one of the stories. Can he salvage his Ozeki run? Can he get it done? Can we get 4 Ozeki? Though, to be honest, we may have fewer than 4, regardless of Wakatakakage's performance. Anyway. Abi, 7-8. Abi, Sekiwake West. Abi, I have a feeling they're not gonna kick him. Abi needs a second gear, I think. He's hit basically his new ceiling. Maria mentioned that this is the pre-suspension Abi with a little bit more inconsistency, a little bit more nerves. Maria says that he needs a new motivator. I would agree. he needs that half step up. He needs to get that little bit stronger, that little bit hungrier. Because when Abi was making his return, he was just rocketing up the ranks. We all said, "Oh, Abi's on his way up. He's on his way up." We're like, he could probably be Ozeki. We're like, maybe it could be Yokozuna, but obviously we all get ahead of ourselves. We all get just wrapped up in the hype. So this 7 and 8 Abi, this tells me that like maybe he's still Sanyaku material. He's not quite ready for the next jump up. But it's still I call it like Abi A and Abi B. So Abi A is he just blasts somebody just completely out. So Endo, Hokutofuji, Takayasu, no hope. It's just completely demolished. And then he has the Abi B, which is like the scrambling, the pulling, the moving backwards, the angles. Takakeisho, he got Abi B'd. Got that win. Didn't look pretty, but he got it done. And so he's still got all those tools in there. But just Abi, now we need something else. We need a fire. We need a motivator. We need that little extra step up. And so for Abi, he needs he needs to dig deep. He needs to figure that out. So this, the new mature tape watching, analytical Abi, he's got the pieces are there. It's like if you assemble these pieces in such a way, you could probably get Ozeki. But he's got work to do. And that's what the 7 and 8 tells me. I'm assuming he'll still be in Sanyaku. We'll talk about that in a little bit. But man, he's run out of steam. It is. I don't know. Abi, go kick some butts. I guess. Something. So, Hoshoryu, 8 and 7, back-to-back Kamasubi Kachikoshi. The big thing about when you transition over from Megashira to those Sanyaku ranks, it's holding it. It is slippery. It goes right through your hands. But Hoshoryu is holding on to it. Like, for that step 1, at 8 and 7, not the hold you want. But, again, any Kachikoshi is good when you're in Sanyaku. You need to hold on to that. I feel like for Hoshoryu getting better, building from this, it's inevitable. He's just so hungry. He's so angry. So aggressive. It's that force. It's like it is impossible for Hoshoryu not to go for everything. Sort of did a little Wakatakakage mini Henka thing. I'll give you a finger wag and then go back to what you're doing. Maybe you just had a bad day. I don't know. Whatever. Maria says that he's close to putting it all together and making a run. A bit too impatient and gets himself into awkward positions where it's too close to call it the finish. He does have a little bit of a luck issue. Again, I don't want to get into this, but Hoshoryu totally beat Shodai, and then they didn't do anything about it. But I can't. I gotta move on with my life. So for Hoshoryu, for me, the telling, I guess, like the moment that crystallized for me in Hoshoryu, I'm like, oh, okay, this is what we're dealing with. Fighting Terunofuji, he goes right for the belt and starts trying to throw the guy, which is suicide. Particularly this tournament when Terunofuji, basically, if he stuck to his game, there was no beating Terunofuji. But there was a fearlessness in Hoshoryu. He's just like, I'm getting this belt and I'm throwing this guy. And it's not worked yet, but it's going to work now. That was what Hoshoryu was saying. That was Hoshoryu's mentality. So if he's going into a fight against the Yokozuna, a guy who's just destroying people on the belt, and then he goes for the belt because he's like, I'm just going to beat you. That's the mindset. That's the killer's edge. We talk about this on and off, where some people, like, it's that instinct, that fighter's resolve, that you go in there and you're like, I don't care about odds. I don't care about how this looks. I'm going to get it done. That's that driving force for Hoshoryu. That's that he's going to get up there. And he keeps doing that kind of stuff. It's not an if, it's a when. And that is exciting future. But for now, still Sanyaku. No Ozeki runs. Still just focusing on the base. Just keep building. And I don't worry about that. So Daieisho, by the way, blink and you miss it. Daieisho Ozeki run? More likely than you think. Daieisho nearly getting into the playoff for the Yusho and stealing it all. I had messaged Maria on day 14 because I was looking through all the records. And I send her a message. I'm like, yeah, it's probably going to be Terunofuji. Could be Takanosho if Takanosho can get it together. Could be a bizarre three-way playoff. And I go to Maria. I'm just like, and again, this is like stuff everybody else figured out. But like I had that moment. I'm like, I got to go tell Maria. I got to go tell her that Daieisho could win the Yusho from like 3 paces back. Didn't happen. He gets a special prize. All of the people who didn't win the tournament got a special prize, which is, I feel, quite appropriate because they put everybody through the paces. His victories were decisive. He was fighting. This was the Yusho Daieisho. This is, as Maria mentions. This is the form that just pole vaulted Daieisho to the top, and like we haven't seen this out of him since he won the Yusho. And maybe his injuries finally cleared up. I know that Daieisho had been doing like school and classes, and there was some news about how, he's done with those classes, so now he can do 100% sumo. Maybe that's part of it. Maybe it's a mental thing. Who knows? Maybe he just kicks ass. And decisive victories. First off, beats Terunofuji, one of the 3 people to do it. Beats Abi at pushing. Abi got the range advantage. Didn't matter. He just gets in there and smashes him. What's also interesting about Daieisho, and this is always the X factor for pusher thrusters, is how do they handle it when they can't do it. So he does a pivot throw at the edge against Takayasu. And he does like a parry, like Matador Ole against Tamawashi to win. Like those non-pushing forward things. And Daieisho, like he's very much like a go forward or die kind of guy. And he pulls those out. And I saw those, I'm like, this is somebody. And again, like this is what I was talking about with Takakeisho. Is that if you have that plan B, if you have that I could do something else, that's sometimes that's the secret sauce. That's what you need to go forward. So Daieisho on an Ozeki run, guys. I never thought I'd say this. I am just so pleased. I don't, one Basho does not an Ozeki make. I get that, and he can be right back to 6-9 in July, which would make me sad, but it's quite possible. For the time being, all good, all happy. Well done, Daieisho. Well-earned special prize. Almost got another cup. Maybe it'll happen again. Not gonna happen again for Takayasu, at least this time around. 6-9. This felt like the Takayasu, I'll call it the Megashira version of Takayasu, where he's strong but not strong enough. He's powerful but not powerful enough. And it's not like he wasn't strong and powerful and good with techniques. Like he just bullied Takakeisho. Like he just pushed him around and threw him on the ground. Like out-muscled Kotonowaka. Kotonowaka doing a great job testing everybody. Takayasu passes the test, surprisingly enough. Not what I expected. But it was just that little edge wasn't there for Takayasu this time around, and now he's going to tumble a little bit back down. Maria mentions that the intensity of last tournament seemed to take a lot out of him. I think that's pretty valid. Certainly, everything seemed to be riding on it for Takayasu. We were all heartbroken by that. And so, lends you to believe maybe Takayasu just didn't have it this time around, needed a resting tournament. I don't feel like that's, well, maybe not the right way to say that. But I mean, it seems like I say this every time for Takayasu. It's like, well, we'll see what happens next term. Maybe it'll be different. And then usually it is different, but maybe not in the way you think. Takayasu still needs to figure it out one way or the other. And again, like he's not fading. It's just that that urgency, that edge that he had, not quite there yet. Maybe it's sort of a comes and goes things. Maybe it's a where's your mind kind of a thing. You can never really know. So this will be unfortunately quick. Ichinojo 0-0-15 COVID close contact benched. In the frenzy of this crazy fun tournament, I had forgotten Ichinojo was out for a little while, and then I was looking at the records, just like, oh my god, imagine this tournament if Ichinojo was in it. The Ichinojo that was destroying people to get to Megashira 1 West. The 9-6 Ichinojo who looks scary, putting things together, the sense of urgency. So this is sort of the question that we always ask for people who are benched for COVID, injured, whatever. Though specifically for COVID, it's this weird, like, grace period bye that you get, right? Where you're not fighting, but you're not penalized. And, Ichinojo sort of just gets to have a beer on the couch for a couple of weeks. Obviously, they don't do that. They sumo till the day they die, which is beautiful to watch. But now it's like, is Ichinojo going to be rested? Is he going to be refreshed and ready to go? Or is this benching time off going to sort of mess with his momentum a little bit, and then he sort of has to rebuild it in July? Always the question mark. I think Ichinojo's, like, the way he's been building himself, like the steady progress, means that I don't have to worry about it. It's still a factor, though. And Ichinojo is then going to play foil with all this stuff going on and possibly make a few Ozeki's lives even worse. Which they certainly don't need the help. And Ichinojo's like, oh no, I got you, buddy. So next up, Kiribayama, Megashare 2, he's 10-5. So we've got some interesting... Are they going to open the Sanyaku slots for some of these people? I think at 10-5, not quite. I think he's just going to swap places with Takayasu and just be like, somebody get out of my way. It would be interesting if they decide to open up a slot, particularly for Takanosho. I see them doing what they normally do and just stuffing everybody on Megashira 1 and saying, sorry, buddy, no room, and the logjam continues. I hold out hope every time something like this happens. I'm just like, come on, Kamasubi 2. Get in there. Abi 7 and 8, they're not kicking him out of Sanyaku in a 7 and 8. They're just swapping his places with Daieisho, and Hoshoryu gets to be mad again. That's what will happen there. But so then it's a matter of, what does Kiribayama do? What does Takanosho do? It's just those two, I guess. It's just, yeah, Megashira 1, East and West. Sorry, guys. I figured it out. Prove me wrong, Banzuke. Please do. I'd love more Sanyaku slots. But anyway, sorry. Got off topic. Kiribayama, in the cup contention all the way up till right here when he loses to Wakamotoharu. So he was making eyes at that cup. There was a stretch of time nobody was really talking about Kiribayama. I'm like, guys, he's sleeping. Don't sleep on Kiribayama. He's doing well. Maria mentions this, and this is really the big thing. It's the little things that are getting in the way of Kiribayama. So, good, bad for Kiribayama. The good is he's always had this small, incremental improvements. So it was not the kind of making waves. Kiribayama is very slow and steady, wins the race kind of a guy. And this is like one of the tournaments that really manifested. That it's the sum of all of his slow building improvements finally turning into results. Because he was up and down in the top 5 Megashira. I think he touched Sanyaku really briefly and then got knocked back down. So I felt like this is sort of a proof of concept for game Kiribayama. Something a lot of people knew was going to happen. It's just finally getting there. It's just an exciting, oh, we got it, guys, it's happening. It's just like you plan a surprise party for your friend like 2 months out, and then like the day before, it's just like the giddy excitement. Like, guys, it's finally going to happen. It's tomorrow. It's like I'm feeling that for Kiribayama. I'm feeling like things are finally clicking. But then the downside, and again, this is towards Maria's point, it's still these little things. Because it's these incremental increases, you can't get... It's not like it's this tear. It's these little things. Like there was the loss to Takanosho that Maria points out, where Kiribayama has Takanosho in sort of a pretty good situation. Has him on the belt. Goes, like, pulls his leg, tries to do the weird trip thing. Takanosho blocks, and then he's completely off balance, and he just touches the ground. And then he stands back up, and he laughs. Because he knows that he goofed it. That he tried for the thing, and it didn't really work. And, like, you like seeing that, but it gets a little goofy. So, he put Terunofuji through the paces a little bit. Now, again, like, if you get into a belt fight with Terunofuji, you're going to lose. This is one of the conclusions I got out of this tournament. Nobody's belty enough to deal with Terunofuji. You gotta blast him out. But he made him work. He made him sweat for it. And that was good to see. And he shows the diversity in that he outbelts other people. Takayasu, Kotonowaka, Tochinoshin. Now, Tochinoshin less so, but the two of them always have had a nice go at it. Even though Kiribayama these days is probably going to win, but again, that wasn't always the case. Kiribayama didn't always win to Tochinoshin. Also puts the pace on Abi and Daieisho, showing that he can deal with not just the belt, but the pushing thrusting. So it's like, things are finally coming together. The surprise parties, it's finally coming up. Will it connect? Well, for Kiribayama, this is going to be the perfect opportunity for something to happen, because he's going to probably be right here. If not right here, I'm going to guess that they're going to give Takanosho 1 east, and then Kiribayama's just going to move up to 1 west. I would love to see it at Kamasubi too. I'll say it again, but I can't go too nuts on this stuff. I'm just never gonna keep going. So, good stuff, Kiribayama. Also good stuff, Kotonowaka, Myogiryu 2 west 9 and 6. Kachikoshi at career highest rank. There's no easy fights up here. This is the meat grinder. Kotonowaka comes out the other side of the meat grinder with a 9 and 6. Very good. Maria says that Kotonowaka definitely going to be in the future of sumo conversation, but still needs work. Beats Takakeisho for the first time. Gets one off of Wakatakakage. Beats Abi at thrusting. This is another thing. When you have good decisive wins against multiple types of people. Also, Kotonowaka likes doing the pushing thrusting stuff. He throws that at you. You don't see that coming. So he had a lot of photo finishes this tournament. Here's a lot of things right up to the line. And we were sort of saying this about Hoshoryu, about like a lot of his stuff. It's like the split second victories and losses. So he still belongs here. You don't like a 9 and 6 at Myogiryu 2. There's no hand waving that. There's a couple of things, like it felt like he got a little lucky on a couple of these wins. And when you have decisive wins against Tamawashi, against Abi, against Takakeisho, regardless of whether or not the Ozeki are doing well, regardless of whether or not Abi's buckling under the pressure, it's just like, these are still wins against game opponents. And you can't take that away from them. And it's going to be... it's up to him to just keep doing what he's doing, in a way. I love the fact that the first 3 days, I was just out of my mind that he just sweeps the Ozeki the first 3 days. A little streaky, though. 3 wins, 4 losses, 3 wins. Get it done at the end. Oh, man. I am very hype. I'm very hype on the Kotonowaka train. 9 and 6, and the weird split-second mono-y stuff. Slowing down a little bit, maybe, but again, 9 and 6, Myogiryu 2 west. He's going places. Well, specifically upwards. And it's going to be a weird Banzuke thing going on next time. So, good stuff, Kotonowaka. Knocking at the door. If nothing else, it's going to put the sweat on these guys. All these people just kicking the door down to Sanyaku. These guys, you gotta hold your place. These whippersnappers will just rip that seat right out from under you. So, Hokutofuji, I am going to be sad for the next 2 minutes. 5 and 10, he has not been the same since that injury. The power has not been there. I said coming into the tournament that it's really his life, his future is just going to be decided by this meat grinder. It has been decided. A 5 and 10 is not a I can figure this out. A 5 and 10 is a get out. I don't like this. It makes me really upset. Still gets Ozeki wins. It's something to keep in mind. Shodai and Takakeisho, he beats him. So, yeah, then you say, oh yeah, if you beat Shodai, who doesn't beat Shodai? Sure, but he's still got some of it. He just doesn't have enough. He doesn't have that power that he needs for his sumo. And these are some of these matches are ones that he would have won earlier, before the injury, when he was just trying to break the Sanyaku ceiling. So his sumo, it's going the wrong direction. It's not. I gotta get over myself. I gotta figure this out. So Hokutofuji needs a rally. The hope is that he is still it's a slow recovery. You gotta figure out the injury. You gotta retune your sumo, and hopefully rally back, sort of try to get to that point where you were. I'm just gonna be a sad face boy until they figure that out. Yeah, Maria mentions that he may just be stuck here, and that's my concern. That's my fear, is that this is just where Hokutofuji going to be now. Like beforehand, he was Megashiro 1-2, trying to kick the door open to Sanyaku, just couldn't figure it out. Now it looks like he's gonna be Megashiro 5-6, trying to kick the door down to the meat grinder. It's Hokutofuji, good luck, man. I'm still gunning for you. I'm gonna vote for you in Internet Sumo fantasy games until you retire. But man, I don't like these trends. Anyway, all right, Tamawashi. Let's get back into the happy gun fun lucky stories. 9-6, Mega Sheriff by West. Iron Man Wrecking Ball. Can you stop Tamawashi? Is this a force of nature that simply cannot be denied? Just beating up Terunofuji consistently, to the point that I'm like, wow, I wonder if it's getting in Terunofuji's head now. I wonder if Tamawashi's just like, I'm just gonna collect Kimboshis from this guy until he stops being Yokozuna. It's just weird. Like, I found the flaw with this Herculean god of a Yokozuna, and it's this 37-year-old pusher thruster who doesn't know what the word age means. It's so good. So good. And he beats both the Sekiwake. Also, keep in mind, Abi Wakatakakage, he was on a tear. People were like, oh, is he going to get another Yusho? Then he has a second week fade. This is something that's been showing up for him. He'll have these 5 of his 6 losses were in the second half of the tournament. It seems to be what happens with him. Keep in mind, again, this is what I was saying with Kotonowaka. When you're in the meat grinder, there's no hand-waving scores. That 9-6 for Tamawashi, that is legit. There's no taking that away from him. And a 9-6, and these are, going over to Hokutofuji, several years younger, struggling. Takayasu, former Ozeki, having a time of it. Tamawashi, Megashiro 3, whatever. I'll just push you out of the ring. Love it. Go get him, Tamawashi. Go get him. No one can stop this boy. He's going to get it. And I love it. Every second of it. So, next up, we got Endo, Megashiro 4. He's 7-8. So, Makakoshi, but that 7-8, he gets the A for effort. The slick technical mind on display. Sharp as ever. It's really, these days, it's just that sometimes you can just catch him off guard. Sometimes he's just not strong enough, not fast enough. Now that he's the air quotes veteran, now that he's passed over the magical 30 years old, it's a downward trend. You got, unless you're Tamawashi, in which case you'll be 89, you'll still be cracking people. God bless you, Tamawashi. Anyway, so Endo, for me, like, the losses were almost more telling than the wins because of how much spirit he had in them. He put Terunofuji through the paces. I love seeing those two guys fight. It wasn't like in, I think it was last tournament, that Terunofuji just sort of like bullies Endo out of the ring in 3 seconds. Like, this was like the legit fight. Now, Terunofuji was never really in danger. Endo was dragging him around. He made him work, that's sort of what you do when you get a finger quotes good loss against Terunofuji. It's just like, yeah, you made him work for it. He didn't just show up, arm clamp you, and walk you out, and then just just go home like nothing happened. Like, Endo made him work for it. I think that I'll call it the Yokozuna Endo is gone at this point. Like, the guy who can actually make a run of it. I don't think Endo has that in him anymore. I wouldn't say this is a bad thing, because now we still have what I'll call the Megashira Endo. The I will outmaneuver and outwit Hoshoryu and Ura. The two people who are known for being these wily, crafty, strong, aggressive people. And Endo's just like, nah, you're still not on my level. Eat dirt. Love it. So yeah, I feel like I'm mentally adjusting to the new Endo. Well, new is the wrong word. So, like, Endo is like, I feel like he's a little more consistent. A little more fighting good, fighting well. he'll still have his off days. There'll still be the days that somebody just blasts him out and you sort of wonder if he woke up that morning. I feel like that's a lot less these days. There's a little bit more of a consistent power, a more reliable test, and also somebody who is going to be playing foil, who's going to be throwing people down. Beats Takayasu, beats... Who else did he beat? Yeah, Tamawashi, took one off of him. Get out of here, old man. So I like the way that Endo has turned out. Part of you always want to see someone wearing that white belt, but for some people, it's just never going to happen. And for Endo, he's making the best of it. So keep making the best of it, Endo. Also, the 7 and 8, he'll still be in this. He'll be being a puzzle for people for some time now. So next up, Takanosho. What? You show Takanosho? Oh, this was so good. We were worried about him, you know? Excuse me. It was so... Fall out of Sanyaku. Okay, fine. Whatever, everybody has a bad tournament. And he falls a little further down. We're like, Takanosho, what's going on here? In this tournament, everything works out for him. He gets his power, he gets his speed, he gets his timing. Wins a belt fight with Hoshoryu. For me, that was the whoa, what? Right here. This day. I couldn't believe that happened. It baffled me. But he did it. And he was, again, 10-2. Holy moly. So happy. He figured something out. He got it all together. So, whatever injury issues he was having, training issues maybe, physical, emotional, whatever issues, didn't have any of them this tournament. He did have nerves, I'll say. Fight against Waka, the last 3 fights for him, right here, when it really got bad. Well, not bad, but the pressure was really on him right here. So, when he was fighting Wakatakakage, he was he was stiff. He was nervous. He loses. He starts doing a grin. Now it makes perfect sense. He's never been in this situation before. He doesn't know how to handle this underdog stuff. So the nerves got to him a little bit. And, loses against Sadanoumi. A little bit unfortunate. Could have had that 4-way playoff, but it's fine. It's fine because Takanosho comes out of this with a special prize. And sort of a statement that Takanosho, he's here to stay. Don't worry, he's not fading. Something hasn't happened to him. He hasn't lost his mojo. He's kicking ass. The way we like to see it. So, really happy to see that. Really pleased. I mean, now everyone's going to be all eyes on Takanosho going into the July tournament. But at the same time, I'm not worried at all. Because look how well he fought. Beats Terunofuji. Beats Takakeisho. Outdoes Ichinojo. Poor guy. Get to him. So good, though. So good. Takanosho nearly had it. And now when you're talking about cup contention, Takanosho's in the mix now. It was never really a thing. He was never, at least not recently. Not in our podcast history, I don't think. That we're like, Takanosho, oh, he'll get it. Okay, we're just like, he's going to do well. Not cup well, but double-digit wins maybe. Maybe a 9-6. A reliable force. Now he's making his statement. It's like, more of this. Good. Takanosho, kicking it. I love it. All right, Onosho. Oh, unfortunate. This was going to be sort of a test for him. Then he gets some cracked ribs. Compliments of falling out from Takakeisho. That's a bit rough. Because he started out same as always, honestly. Good show of power, some balance and timing issues. I mean, strictly speaking, he was 2-2 going into the Takakeisho fight. I mean, Takakeisho still has the superior mind for this kind of stuff. And so, sort of, Plan B's Onosho out of the ring with some really good stuff. So he's going to take a tumble. Always concerned about injuries. You never, can always, talking with Hokutofuji, you never know what that's going to do to you. I see Onosho doing fine lower down. Because, they're going to throw him, around here. And so, throw him down with Meisei. We'll get to him. But, is he going to have trouble with Chiyotairyu, with Myogiryu, with Chiyoshoma, maybe with Aoiyama. But, 3 out of 4. Just on a completely arbitrary hand wave. So, strong score in July. hoping he recovers. Everything's fine. No problems. No career-ending injuries. Heaven forbid, that would be rough. Well, unfortunate, but sumo is a dangerous contact sport. See you next time, Onosho. To bring the power and hopefully keep the power. And I'm not going to talk anymore about it. I don't want to jinx him. Do well, Onosho. So next up, Tobizaru, 7 and 8. Historically, he's perfectly fine with the Banzuke committee. They may actually promote him with 7 and 8. I kid. He and other tricksters, or Chiyoshoma, they've been putting traditional sumo in their bag of tricks. So sometimes the trick for them is fighting normally. And it's been doing pretty well. So, unfortunately for Tobizaru, the second week is just the meat grinder week. Fighting Takanosho, going for the tournament. Fighting Tamawashi, unbeatable. Fighting Terunofuji, goes for the belt, has a little fun with it, but it's bad. Fighting Mitakeumi, who still Ozeki, but still Ozeki, if you know what I mean. So, like, this whole cluster right here of, 7 losses. It's just him fighting a little bit out of his depth, unfortunately. And I felt like he made Terunofuji sweat a little bit. He kept going on angles. Terunofuji just couldn't get his hands on him. I don't know if Terunofuji was any real danger from Tobizaru, but like with Tobizaru, it's like you gotta let him throw you out because he's gonna try. And he's not. Again, I don't see him going down very far at all. Like he'll probably swap places with Ura. And it's yet good, solid sumo. Held his own. A 7 and 8 at Megashira 5 is still impressive. It's still a good show of things. And he did, when he wasn't fighting these game killers at the top of the division, like everyone else he was fighting, he was fine with. So it's still a good sign. Not forward progress, but sumo progress. It's not always numbers. So we'll see what the Flying Monkey does in July, when he's like Megashira 6 East and basically doing the same stuff. I'm looking forward to it. So, Ura next up, Megashira 6 East, 9-5-1. Yusho Contention Ura. Who saw that coming? This was the would have seen this coming basho. Just the way things came out of the woodwork. Crazy. So, unfortunately, gets an ankle injury when Abi pushes him out. On the replay, you can see him limping back. It's a little unfortunate. But, if you're going to go out with an ankle injury when you have 9 wins, you don't ever want to go out with an ankle injury. But he's comfortably Kachikoshi with the... Hopefully not a problem. It looks like it was like a sprain. Like, he was still putting weight on it. I'm guessing, like, it was a sprained ankle, a turned ankle. Like, it was, probably swelled up to a balloon when he got back home. And they're like, you ain't fighting on that, buddy. And it's unfortunate. Ura has really been coming into his own. He had a bit of a rough time last tournament because everybody sort of had him figured out. He had a bit more aggression, traditional belt sumo this time around. He was dangerous from the front, from the side, went low, went high. Excuse me. His fight with Takakeisho is the most Ura fight, I think, that has ever been. Pushing with Takakeisho, going back and forth, spinning out of control mess, and then Takakeisho runs himself out with his own momentum. And it was great because they mono-eat it, because at that point they were mono-eating everything. I'm not going to get into it, but like they were the mono-eat, like, so you got to see on the replay Ura doing the crazy, like, spinning mess. And that's just wild fun. It's kind of chaos. And he wins! Because he spun himself out like a dreidel, and then it keeps him upright for the critical 1.5 seconds he needed before Takakeisho. Oh, God. So much fun. Again, I'm hoping, / praying, / half assuming that the whole ankle thing's not a thing. That will be fine. We'll see, though, I guess. Come July, if it's taped and stuff. He'll be on the way up, though. He's going to be bumping into this meat grinder a few times until he figures it out, or the meat grinder just spits him out. So, speaking of meat grinder, Wakamotoharu, another Kachikoshi. Just look at this. This makes me so warm inside. Just look at 9 and 6, 9 and 6, 9 and 6, 11 and 4 from Jiraiya. This consistency, unaffected by rank. This is progress. This is fascinating. A little bit of an injury scare early on. Takes the weird, like, he fell over Tobizaru. It looked like something happened with his toe. Didn't affect anything. Thank goodness. Dodged the bullet. It's just the belt sumo, the aggression, the technique, the sumo sense. It's just, he's kept it. Like, the opponents have gotten better, and some people are starting to take some matches off of him. It's not slowing him down, though. He just keeps going upwards, and he has a way of beating Kiribayama. That's, like, I think he's been beating him the last 2-3 times in a row. This time around, it was a longer fight. Kiribayama was trying his tricks. Wakamotoharu sort of worked through them. After the Kiribayama victory, he does like that pumped look, and like, you love seeing that because it means like he was in it. He was aggressive. Definitely, Wakamotoharu and Wakatakakage are feeding each other energy, and like, this is the result. The two of them at the same score. Look at that, 9 and 6, 9 and 6. I just noticed that. Look at that. So here's what's fun: is now comes the meat grinder for Wakamotoharu, because now he's gonna be up here, and so now not only is he going to be fighting the top dogs, they're gonna throw him at Terunofuji, but now Wakamotoharu and Wakatakakage will be able to like support each other directly because they'll be fighting each other's opponents. And that's when the whole synergy thing really is going to kick on. So, you know, Wakatakakage is going to go, he's going to go fight Kotonowaka. And then he gets to go back and say, hey, Wakamotoharu, I noticed Kotonowaka, he's doing this one thing, so maybe we could do that. I'm so excited. The Waka brothers are going to get it. And Wakamotoharu seems unstoppable. Now, you know, the meat grinder will make mortals of us all. Particularly if this is as high as he's ever been. The possibilities are just running through my head like crazy. What this guy can do, what his potential is showing by the consistent 9 and 6, 9 and 6, 9 and 6. So excited. I gotta calm down. Temper expectations, but they're untempered right now. They are flying. Okay. All right, I gotta settle down. Takarafuji, unfortunately. I gotta talk about something that makes me sad again. 4 and 11, Myogiryu 7 East. They mentioned an injury problem. So this isn't a Takarafuji fade. We keep putting him on and off the watch list as he goes up and down in rank. So, you know, if you got a back problem, if you've got a neck problem, excuse me, you can do as good as you can with that. For better or for worse, obviously for worse, because he got a 4 and 11. Because Takarafuji was like really like handicapped, like you can see the struggle, like the sumo spirit really started to come out, and because normally like Takarafuji's just so stoic, just so calm, just, you know, the unshakable rock of control and resolve is usually Takarafuji's deal. But there are a couple of fights like you could see him like straining. He was like, I'm tired of this. He was getting frustrated. He was getting angry, and like you do. Again, the spirited nature, like when he fought Takayasu wins, but Takarafuji made him work for it. Like he pushed that pressure. He was becoming aggressive. And when it comes to the veterans, so just in general, I guess, when you have that fire in you, when you see the fire, see the hunger, that's when you know that guy wants to stick around. That's when you know, okay, Takarafuji isn't going anywhere. Okay, that's always the concern. Like, if people start taking their foot off the gas pedal, if people start slowing down a little bit, you're like, no, don't leave me. But no, injury notwithstanding, I mean, we can just be cobbled together, like poor Shohozan down in Juryo, who's just desperately fighting. Or, he could be an Ikkyoi, a throwback, just completely banged up mess of a person just still fighting on. That's always the case, but it seems like if Takarafuji had to weigh in right now, it'd be like, I'm still in this. And that's the feeling to hold on to, at least for me. He's gonna tumble down, double digits Megashira. Should be okay. I'm not putting him on a watch list yet. It'll be later down. I'll put him on the watch list. So, we'll say this is injury. We'll say this is just frustration. And again, the wins that he got were good. You never want to see the clean sweep. The spirited fighting, but still losing. It's got to hold on to that. Hold on to that. Takarafuji, not yet. Not done with you yet, please. Next up, Kotoeko, Megashira 7, West 6 and 9. So I had said, if Kotoeko does better than double-digit losses, that this is a win for him. And look at that, 6 and 9. I think he did pretty well for himself at a higher rank. The little man, strong man sumo coming through. Particularly, he fought Takarafuji. Takarafuji was being aggressive, was bullying him, and Kotoeko was just like, nah, I'm going to win this one. Beats Wakamotoharu, by the way, who we just talked about being consistent in baller. Another belt guy, outbelts the belt guy. These are like the things that you see that you're like, good. Beats Oho. Forgot how that one went. I think Oho was Oho was just trying to bully him. Oho was just like, I'm a big guy, I'm going to beat you around. And Kotoeko was like, nah, I'm a little man, strong man. I'm going to check you. And he did. Spun him around. So it's incremental progress for Kotoeko. He's, the 6 and 9 is a loss on the records, but it's like a win because of his performance. The application of his sumo is able to get his brand across. The way he wants to fight. He's able to get there more often. So he's gonna go down a little bit, but like optimistic for Kotoeko. Going in the right direction. It feels that way. Next up, Shimanoumi, 7 and 8. It's about he's evening out, leveling out. This is about where he belongs. It feels mid Megashira. So the 7 and 8 for him, no problems. Did get a little bit of a loss streak going on at the end, but it's fine. It's fine. More of his like gritty, hold the line defensive sumo was showing through, and also showing some aggression. Tobizaru was in a case. He goes after Tobizaru like this guy stole his wallet. And so stuff like this, it's like Shimanoumi knows when to attack, when to defend, how to, he can read the match. Now, this defensive brand of sumo, and this is a case for Takarafuji and similar people like this, like when you don't have that sense of urgency, it doesn't let you get caught out. And that was usually how he would lose. If somebody was just a little bit faster, a little bit stronger, maybe Shimanoumi wasn't able to react in time. But none of this, this is just standard issue Shimanoumi, which he was having injury issues. It seems like he was having some power issues. He's gotten over it. So again, a losing score, but for me a net positive because it shows that Shimanoumi has sort of gotten it together. Just, your move, Shimanoumi. Keep going up. We'll see what happens. He's holding his own. And sometimes holding your own is all you either can do or need to do or should be worried about. Speaking of worrying about things, Terutsuyoshi. 5 and 10. Terutsuyoshi, come on. Making me worried. Staying up at night. Not really, but just concerned. He remains his own worst enemy. He'll do wild stuff. Like, you're never gonna stop him doing wild stuff. It's this weird, this solved puzzle state. It's like you're playing tic-tac-toe with somebody. Just like, figure out how this is gonna end pretty quickly. So what was interesting and telling, and I went back and forth about this in my mind a lot. So he fights Tochinoshin, and at first it looks like it's gonna be exactly the way it was when they fought in March, which is Terutsuyoshi gets low, tries to upend Tochinoshin, and Tochinoshin picks him up by the belt and walks him out, and his legs go kicking. It's hilarious. It looks like that was going to happen, but this time around, Terutsuyoshi not only resists and stops himself from being embarrassed 2 turns in a row, but then on his counterattack, lifts Tochinoshin up off the ground himself. I mean, it was for a half second, but there was air underneath them feet. I was just like, what? And this was day 3, so I'm like, oh, have we turned a corner? And then then the other days happened. We're like, oh, no corner turned. Just Terutsuyoshi being Terutsuyoshi. Someday, he has this. He has these moments of brilliance. He's got some weird lucky wins. I think like Meisei brought himself out. We'll get to Meisei. But so like there's some luck, there's some brilliance, there's some wow, this is some really cool sumo. I want to see this all the time. And then there's just getting blasted out. He loses to Kotokuzan. That's embarrassing. Kotokuzan not having any amount of success except against Terutsuyoshi apparently, who gets flattened by a guy who's having thrusting power issues. It's like, where's the consistency? He's well high up to even worry about relegation at this point. Probably can get another 5-10 in July if you really felt like it. Please don't. It's. I feel like I'm not alone in thinking that there's greatness in Terutsuyoshi because we feel like we see it every time. And it's like you don't want him to stop the weird stuff. You don't want to go and be like, the salt throws are getting weird, guys. To stop. Like, first off, he's not going to listen to you. And secondly, like that, this is him. You know, like this is what he's like. He's this flawed, fun, weird character, and you sort of want him to go on the straight and narrow and really get his stuff back together, and go back into the meat grinder, which is where he was back when Terunofuji was making his run. But like at the same time, you're just like, will he still be Terutsuyoshi then? You know, if he's 10-5 instead of 5-10. Oh, actually, I'd be pleased as punts if he was 10-5 at 5-10. But like, what if he became 10-5 and then just started fighting normally? It became boring. It's like that's a weird conversation I'm having with myself. I don't know. Terutsuyoshi, stop that. If you're gonna do this, at least be a 7-8, like a decent person. I can't stay mad at Terutsuyoshi. I'm already laughing. Go throw some more salt, I guess. I don't know. What am I even doing here? Okay, Kotoshoho. Making sure 9 East. 6-9. Unfortunate. So, I'm going to coin Slinky Defense as Kotoshoho's secret technique. Everybody seems to have their own thing. What Kotoshoho does is, if he's grappled and he's up against the ropes, he will bend over backwards to an extent that should not be possible, while resisting perfectly, and then pivot a throw from there. I don't know how he does it. It doesn't seem physically possible, but Kotoshoho has that on lock, and it is fascinating. This time around, it was the first big time we saw it was against Nishikigi. Nishikigi has him dead to rights, up against the throat, upright, just like trying to get him out, and Kotoshoho was like, I'm gonna hold this impossible to hold position. Very shades of Terunofuji back when Terunofuji was immortal, and he would just hold at the edge. You're like, how the hell are you doing that? Kotoshoho has that now. The Slinky Defense, because it's like it looked like his spine's. You get it. It seems that so like his strength is getting out of these crazy situations of out muscling and out thinking, out belting out of these crazy situations. And when he's got the hand on the belt, he's dangerous. So his problem seems to be these days either when somebody like fights him in the middle of the ring when he doesn't have crazy stuff to do, and then the balance issues start out, or if people don't let him in on the belt. If they keep him on like in a slap fight, keep it arm's distance, get him blasted out before he can get that belt grip. So Kotoshoho showing some strengths now. The 6-9, and then the subsequent has some things to work on. Means he's not on the upward trend yet, but he's super young. He's back. He's getting himself acquainted. Let him grow, I say. Let him go. Let time and improvements happen, because Kotoshoho is showing us some great stuff already. I think, give him a few months. Maybe this time next year we'll be talking about Kotoshoho up in the mix. But he's not there yet. Not there yet, but soon. I feel it building. I feel the build. Just don't get injured again, Kotoshoho. That'd be nice. I just jinxed him. I'm terribly sorry, Kotoshoho. When you get your ankle injury, you just call me up and you say, you did this to me. Because I just did. I'm sorry. I'm terribly sorry. I just really stop talking sometimes. Anyway, not going to stop talking. We're going to talk about Tokinoshin. Back-to-back Kachikoshi for Tochinoshin. Making sure 9 East 8-7. Yes. Injury scare. In the beginning, took a real nasty tumble. But didn't affect him. We got a lot of near misses. I feel lucky. Well, we have two we had two people who got out, but like there's a lot of people who fell out, and you're like, ooh, I don't know about this. Like, bangs his head and stuff. And Tochinoshin comes back. It's like, whatever, guys. Now, I do sort of wonder if some of that injury affected his ability to fight Terutsuyoshi, and that's why Terutsuyoshi was able to reverse him. I'm not going to take that away from Terutsuyoshi because he freaking earned that by pulling Tochinoshin back with the reversal. You know, that was great. Anyway, 8 and 7 strongman sumo coming back, getting the belt going. Very fun, very nice. The big thing I noticed for Tochinoshin was that his defense was better this time around. He was able to hold and resist. And usually that was what was causing him to lose a lot. So people were putting the pressure on him. And normally he'd crumple, he'd fall over, or he'd just have to start going back, he'd panic pull. There were a couple of matches where he held. He was able to block. And that is pivotal. Because if he can't move the big guy, then he's got all the time he needs. And if you give Tochinoshin that 10 seconds a run up to get the belt, to get what he needs, there's multiple fights that, I think it was versus Wakamotoharu. It was just like they were trying to get the belt, and like Tochinoshin, he got the belt. He's just like, it's mine now, and then he wins. So I'm not gonna say anything about Tochinoshin's future. I'm gonna say he got an 8 and 7. I'm going to say he's going to be Megashira 9 East, maybe Megashira 8 West. And I'm going to say that I'm happy that he's going to be with us in July, hopefully. And that's it. That's all I'm going to say. Because it's just great to watch Tochinoshin. I don't want to... I already jinxed Kotoshoho. I'm not going to jinx Tochinoshin. He doesn't need me. He doesn't need the pox. It's fine. So good stuff. Back-to-back Kachikoshi. Absolutely great to see. And I don't think he's going to make a run at it. But if you do make a run at it, Tochinoshin, I would just be beside myself with glee. So go ahead, think about it. Next up, Okinoumi, 9 and 6. This is a relief for me. I mean, he was 4 and 6 for a little while, but he got it back together. I mean, if anything else, like when you see a rally like this, it's a good sign. Because you're not fading, you're not losing your stuff. Okinoumi, not going away without a fight. Super happy. And he's still fading a little bit. There is still the age thing. There's something. He's not as sharp. He's not the Megashira 3 Okinoumi who's gonna play foil in the U show. But he's still got the power, the urgency. He's grabbing people. He's throwing them out. He's thrusting people out. He's doing well. Like that's for me. Like we always talk about how the record doesn't tell the whole story. Like for me, the 9 and 6 is the story for Okinoumi. Because I was going in here, I was just like, I don't know, Okinoumi, you're a little bit too low. You should be okay. It's like, he's okay. He's okay. Tentatively off the watch list. You keep fighting like this, you keep showing the strength, we're fine. We'll be okay. We'll keep him around for a little while longer. Next up, Nishikigi, Megashira 10 West, 8 and 7. Nishikigi seems to have on and off days, I'm noticing. Like, there's some days he's just fighting really well, out of his mind. And other days, he's just not there. And maybe that's just a Nishikigi thing. So, one day, Tochinoshin, he pries Tochinoshin off his belt. And I remember, this is like Nishikigi's superpower. It's that he has this weird, like, ability to manipulate the belt. And he's just like, whoa. He just unbelted Tochinoshin. The grip. And then Takarafuji drives him out the other day. So, on and off, hot and cold. 8 and 7 gets the win on the last day, which is, again, when you're on that 7 and 7, you're able to pull it back together. It's a sign of hunger. It's a sign that he wants to be there. So maybe some consistency issues, but consistent enough to win 8 times. You can't really complain, really. And again, that the sumo sense that belt work. It was the deciding factor. So he earned that 8 and 7. He didn't get lucky. He didn't get like, pulled that one out. So good to see Nishikigi staking his claim in the top division, slowing down a little bit. That's fine. That's fine. Keep working on it. We'll get you there. All right, Aoiyama. Aoiyama, 10 and 5. Oh, I can just imagine everybody just 6 and 0. Aoiyama, lone contender for the Yusho race. Oh, I was so happy. I was losing my mind. I was so happy. Now, it is still my personal opinion that the Yusho race doesn't matter until day 9. But it's not going to stop me from being happy with a 6-0. On top of the leaderboard, just Aoiyama's name. It's like, yes, he's back. So, the big thing, he pulled less. That's why he won so much. He still did pull. They were able to, Sadanoumi in particular was able to beta pull out of him. A few other people, I think he might have pulled 5 times, actually, because he lost 5 times. Added throws. Now, we already knew Aoiyama had some throws in him. The one versus Kotoeko was absolutely stunning, because Aoiyama was being driven back by Kotoeko. While being driven back, executes an arm lock throw. That is, I don't even know how that would be done, like, normally. And Aoiyama, not a guy known for belt, or for throwing, not belt throwing, it was a arm lock throw, just shucks him. Oh, it was so good. So, strong, powerful, able to execute, translate his power into destroying foes. Not pulling. Doing some arm throw stuff. I think he almost yanked Chiyoshoma's arm out of its socket as well. And just keeping it together. Like, this is deadly Aoiyama. This is Aoiyama who maybe could be making a run for it. I'm losing myself here. I gotta calm down again. Deep breaths. Aoiyama, 10-5. Very good. Very good. On the way back up. No longer worried. Looking strong. But some of these veterans really just kicking butt. So happy. So happy. So, a little less happy. A little slightly concerned. A little, Chiyoshoma 6-9, Megashira 11 West. It's a little bit too low down the Banzuke to keep doing that. He's starting to get outgunned, it feels like. It feels like people they're a little bit stronger, they're a little bit faster, they're more consistently keeping him out of his comfort zone. He still has the technique and the power. Like the garbage chuck throw that he does, that amuses me to no end. He did that against Sadanoumi, and interestingly enough, that he just grabs him and he sort of pitch throws with the belt, and then they go flying and you see air underneath them. It's fun to watch. He did it to him, did it to Okinoumi as well. And so it's like he's still got it. He's still got the belt stuff. He's still able to translate his techniques. What was the real, I guess, the start of my concerns? Ichiyamamoto and Kageyaki fought him back to back. Both of these guys, so less Ichiyamamoto, maybe more Kageyaki, they were able to sort of just get him upright and out before Chiyoshoma could even do anything. I feel like a Chiyoshoma 6 months ago when he was going up the ranks like Megashira 7-6-5, and we were making jokes just like, anybody notice this guy snuck in? Nobody's doing anything about it. Chiyoshoma had that reaction time. So if people were pushing him back, he'd be able to do something about it. It feels like it. Again, I'm halfway across the world talking about people I never met, like you do. But it did feel like there was that half second off. It was that lack of speed, lack of the slowing down. It makes me a little scared for Chiyoshoma, who I want to see for as long as possible. Now that we're in the double digits, we do have to talk about people getting out. I think the 6-9 is fine, not double digit losses, so not worried at this higher of a rank. And there's a lot of people lower down who are far worse off. So not in relegation yet, but July will start that, which is concerning. So Chiyoshoma, please, no, stop it. We need you around. I need you in my sumo life for a little bit longer. I'm not ready. So, oh boy, we're back to back on this. Myogiryu, 12-6-9. Myogiryu's slow fade is continuing with that 6-9. Another, this is basically if Chiyoshoma gets this in July, I'll be super worried. I'm worried for Myogiryu. So Myogiryu is not fading, or it's not losing from a lack of trying. Consistent fighting spirit throughout. He is trying every match. It's just that his good isn't good enough, it feels like. So when he fought Midori Fuji, and Midori Fuji's back, guys, it's great. It felt like it sort of told the story of Myogiryu for me. which is he starts strong. He's attacking well, focused, consistent, strong. But then Midorifuji does the reversal at the edge. His timing's a little better. He's a little bit sharper. So Myogiryu isn't able to finish it off. And then he gets thrown out. Like, I feel like that's where Myogiryu is. Is that, like, he's still got the power, the technique, the sumo sense, the aggression. But it's just the losing of the edge, the little half steps back over and over, sort of just, he's getting outplayed. And now, similar to Chiyoshoma, the 6-9, this high up, and a lot of people lower down did him far worse. So he's not in danger. But the two of these guys both now, they're like really on that watch list because they're going to be like here, 13, 14. They're going to be on this chunk next tournament. And this chunk officially begins we may be relegating you if you do bad enough. Realistically, they both probably have at least July to really mess around. So they still have cushion. We're at the place that we're talking about cushion. You don't even talk about cushion. You want to just do well. But anyway, so Myogiryu hopefully will have a regroup, hopefully get a little revitalization going. Same for you, Chiyoshoma. Both of you guys go find wherever Tamawashi gets his power water from and go get some of that. So next up, Sadanoumi. What? Incredible sumo. 11-4. Just the other, like, I think in the beginning of July and the beginning of March, we were talking about Sadanoumi and he got down to Megashira 12 and we're like, yeah, this is probably where he is because he went up. It was like he was a 9 and then he didn't do 2. Actually, why am I guessing? You could just click the link. Click the link. Yeah, 5 and 10 at Megashira 8. And then because he had this slow progress up and we're like, oh, good to see you again. And then he gets up to Megashira 8. Gets the double-digit losses. We're like, yeah, he probably belongs in Megashira 12. And then he gets 11-4. Oh, my goodness. You can tell Sadanoumi believed in himself in such a way. Near the end. So for me, the fact that he got one off of Hoshoryu, bonkers. When I saw on day 12 that they're showing him the Hoshoryu, I was like, oh, here it comes. They're throwing him to the wolves. He's just going to lose out. And sort of the dream is dead. And then he beats Hoshoryu. I lost it. Hoshoryu ain't gonna lose to nobody, particularly some Megashira 12. So Sadanoumi reversing it. So good. It was, and then he set up the potential playoff. Oh man, Sadanoumi keeping the Dark Horse dream alive. Oh man. Love it. Absolutely stellar performance. And really, Sadanoumi's biggest strength was his defense. He was able to stay balanced. He was able to resist attacks. He was able to read people. That's how he beat Hoshoryu. Hoshoryu was bringing him out. He reversed the throw at the edge. The mono we shows Hoshoryu's leg went down a full half second before Sadanoumi. I was just like, he just fought so well. Like he was 10 years younger. And he's gonna be the talk of this basho. Like Terunofuji wins, sure. The Ozekis are floundering. Takanosho nearly has it, sort of loses his way, but like everybody's be like, man, did you see Sadanoumi? Like this for him, this should be his look what I can do. Now, what does the future hold? Kind of don't care. Sadanoumi's he's gonna go up. He's inevitably gonna hit that point that he's just gonna be a little too high up. Now, I say that, but then, he beat Wakamotoharu, he beat Hoshoryu, he beat Takanosho. Where is the ceiling on this boy? I think it feels like this is sort of one of those magic moments. A bit. But man, just the fact that Sadanoumi could do this was such a delight. It was so cool. Maybe we'll get more of it. I'm expecting this is the Cinderella story. It's not going to happen again. Sadanoumi, if this is your decision, if you're just going to make a break for it, my God, go. Start hanging out with Tamawashi. That'd be great. Oh, what a story. All right, so now we're going to be a little... Oh, boy. Okay, so a little bit of a downward slope from here. Still good, still some good news, but I mean, how do you? I feel bad for Chiyotairyu. How do you follow up talking about Sadanoumi in a tournament like this? So Chiyotairyu, you did well, 8-7. These days, I just count the number of push pulls that Chiyotairyu does. That's how I do my notes these days. So he did 13 push pulls. 7 of them were successful. And then he does a weird, like, moving backwards, scraping by win against Kotokuzan. And that's how he got to 8-7. Chiyotairyu, he's a known factor. He has his strong Tachi. He's trying to blast you out. If that doesn't work, he's going to try to slap you down or move backwards. And if that doesn't work, then Chiyotairyu doesn't know what to do next. It seems. But 8-7. If there's one thing that you do that means that whatever you're doing is working, it's the Kachikoshi. So, winning score for this guy. And again, like this was the story of him. The slow fade. So, he reversed it. He broke it, and upward trend for him, maybe. I don't feel like there's not a lot of runway left for Chiyotairyu. Just the same. Good to see movement in the other direction, no matter how or why. So, movement in the other direction from Meisei was expected. 8-7, what? This is not the what? Yusho contention, this is the what? What happened? 13 West. So, we had pegged Meisei for a special prize, for double-digit wins, for Yusho contention, because he's all the way down here. Who's gonna give him trouble? Apparently a lot of people. Hopefully still injured. Hopefully nothing bad or serious. So, he still had the Sanyaku level sumo in there. The timing, the aggression, the angles. He was still working those. But he just didn't have the power or the timing. So it's like it felt like he knew what to do, but just couldn't do it. And like we talked about how when he was fighting Midori Fuji and it was sort of the Meisei slips and falls of his own accord. That's like on the other side looking at it, just like, it's basically what happened with Meisei. It's just like he knew, he had the angle. Midori Fuji was staggered, he was parried, but then Meisei just slips and falls over of his own accord. So like he just has the knowledge, but just for some reason didn't have the execution. Now 8-7, so at least he's not falling further. But for somebody who was in Sanyaku at the beginning of the year to now be struggling at Mega Sierra 13 is confusing. I wouldn't say I'm worried about Meisei. He'll be back. But we didn't expect it to be this slow. So the hope is still working through physical, mental, emotional issues. Now, again, he was super injured, so and it's the same thing like I was saying before. Sometimes with Hokutofuji, sometimes just because you're back doesn't mean you're healed. Doesn't mean you're 100%. It just means that you're well enough to fight. Hopefully some of that's what's going on, and we'll see Meisei back in the mix in this absolute murderous, like, blender. You throw Meisei in this, it's just those blades are just going to get a little bit sharper. So, Meisei, come back when you're ready. But, double-digit wins next time. At least a 9-6. Goodness gracious. So, Oho. 6-9. We really thought he was going to do it this time. I thought he was going to really do it. Because it goes down to Juryo. Let's pull this out. Did he win? No, he was a double-digit wins in Juryo. Because again, he was 7-8. It was this tragic 5-loss streak. And then we're like, oh, he's almost ready for the big leagues. But just not there yet. And then he gets a double-digit win at Juryo East. We're like, okay, he's ready for it. And the 6-9. Man. So, not making the statement, not convincing us that he is ready. It seems that if you can outspeed him. If you attacked fast enough, Oho couldn't deal with it. If you got on Oho's belt, he wasn't really able to do much about it. But if he could make his power felt, he would get that win. If he can get your hands on you and do some push sumo, do some blasting out, that was his strongest attack. So we're going to talk about who's going up and going down in a little bit. I might be safe, but they could decide to do some stuff. So, like, if we're looking down here, here's 4 people that are going to be relegated before him. And then here's number 5. There may be 6 people coming up from Juryo next tournament. I kind of doubt that, but I would say Oho is probably safe, but I would see there being a reasonable argument for them to throw him back down for a 6 and 9. It's up to fate at this point, and you never like that feeling as a sumo wrestler, knowing that the future's out of your hands, that you've lost the ability to control it. Will Oho still have a bright future? Definitely. He's young, he's strong, he's got that hype building behind him, and every time he touched Juryo before he went into the top division, it was a double-digit win. It's saying that, he's ready to move up from Juryo, but that leap up, that transition from Juryo to Megashira, that's his trouble right now. Once he figures that out, he should be back in the mix. Well, back in the mix. He should be in the mix and introduced to the mix. Mixing things. Somehow, way or another. So, Takayama, 6 and 9. Fighting spirit throughout. Particularly, like, Oho and Takayama had a freaking barroom brawl of a slugfest, which is a great, crazy fun match. Both of these guys showing that they want to be here. But then just having their own trouble in how they're able to stay. So for Oho, he's getting outran, and he's getting outbelted for Takayama. It seems that people are just able to figure him out. I felt like when he was 6 and 7, it felt like, maybe he's holding his own a little bit. He wins some, he loses some. It didn't seem like he was beating himself up nearly as much. And again, like, it felt like he was putting his all out there. Like, he was leaving it all in the ring, like they said. So win or lose, at least he's still fighting it. But I don't know. I feel like the Sanyaku hope is definitely not. I don't feel like that's going to happen anymore. I feel like the hope is Takayama gets it to get like here. Megashira 9, Takayama, I feel like, is the new goal that I'm hoping that he reaches. The time, I think, at his window for getting back into the upper, that's long since gone. I feel like this is a foregone conclusion. It just, for me, there was the finality of it felt like it was sinking in. I don't know. And again, like I was saying with Oho, he may be high up enough to say, but there's a lot of people in Juryo. We'll go over to Juryo when we're done here, very briefly. But there's an argument to be made for these guys. I feel like it's just gonna be 4 people, but I'll show you. You'll see what I'm on about. Takayama, though, is slipping down. So Azumaryu, 15, he's 5 and 10. Sorry to see you go, Azumaryu. I'm not gonna say this is unexpected, but he was a lot of fun to watch. He had some nice tricks, some power. He did a Terunofuji arm clamp on Midori Fuji. He just did that, and then Midori Fuji was completely stuck out. It was fun to watch. And again, like, he had the chops, he had the instinct. Like, you can tell from people. They do something like, oh, he knows what he's doing. That's a neat trick. It just, he had no consistency. And I mean, the first 3 days, what would happen is that the summary of the match was Azumaryu tries to resist butt. He just couldn't hold his own. He sort of completely fell apart in the end, which is rough. But it was good to see him. Nice to see him back. Unfortunately, he could not break his Makakoshi curse. Probably going back down to Juryo. I feel like he at least showed enough potential. I'm reminded of Chiyono O when he had his brief stint in the top division. That he had there were some interesting facets to the way his sumo worked. The sumo sense, the veteran knowledge. Like, this is a person who knows sumo, who knows what he's doing, but just can't get it together at this level. And again, the top 42 people in the world of sumo. So this is serious contention all the way up and down. So I'm Maybe we'll see him back. Maybe we won't. Maybe he'll keep poking his head up, and maybe one day it'll stick. But it's not today. So next up, Ichiyamamoto, 8-7, 15 West. So if you were just like reading through the records, you completely forget what happens in May. You'll see the 8-7 Ichiyamamoto and be like, it's pretty typical, struggling throughout. But this was 8-2. He was in Yusho contention. He was 5-0. And then he loses to Aoiyama, and he's just one behind the pace. This is like, what? Again, it's the happy what. So that 8-2 is a way different story than the 3-7 he had in March. And he was fighting well. He was moving forward. He doesn't pull as much. He had focus. He had power. Now, what happens here is that they saw he was doing well. They threw him to the wolves. Unlike Shimanoumi, he just couldn't deal with it. What are you going to do against Daieisho if you're Ichiyamamoto? Your host! You're Tamawashi, Takanosho. They did the boy wrong. So, you take these 4 losses and you're just like, they don't count. Obviously, they count, but like mentally, you're just like, okay, these are people, they threw him all the way up because he was doing well. They're like, I think you're doing well. How's a Sanyaku, Megashira 15? How is a guy who ends up 11-4 gonna do to you? It's just like, I did the boy dirty. But it's sumo, If you're gonna go for that cup, you better get it. You better earn it. And again, 8-2. 8-2. All these losses, just like, well, it'd be nice to see the double-digit wins. It'd be nice to see him pushing forward, upwards a little bit further. I feel like this is the performance that reminded me of the Ichiyamamoto who first showed up. The Ichiyamamoto that, I guess, captured my attention all the way back in the day. It's like, this is the guy who I liked seeing, who I looked at him and I'm like, he can go somewhere. So, again, then he loses out 5 in a row. It's whatever. Ichiyamamoto, good to see you figured it out. Now July will be to see whether or not what he figured out sticks. We'll talk about that when we get to July. Just cool to see his name, just like with Aoiyama. Just get the Ichiyamamoto title contention, and I'm like, what? He 8-2 right here. His name was on that big ass scoreboard. And again, like I say, like day 9's when the Yusho race starts in terms of like keeping track. And it's like, he was 8-2 right here. He was a threat. And then he get punched in the face, whatever. Anyway, Ichiyamamoto, good stuff. Ishihara, sad. 0-15. So, definitely down to Jiryo. So, the complete loss of momentum is tragic for Ishihara. Gets the neck injury. Just made his break. You're like, oh, he's finally got it. And then hits the injury, tumbles back down, and now injury's still there, and so now he's deep into Jiryo. That part's tragic. What I like to see is the fact that he stayed out. And this is something else that we've harped on forever. It's that these wrestlers will try to fight while injured. I'm looking at Terunofuji right next to him. So, Ishihara makes the decision. I'm going to lose my top division rank, but I'm going to get this injury dealt with. We're going to heal it. We're going to tend it. I'm not going to make it worse. Good news for me. This trend of let go of the rank so that you can fight better later. So the hope is he goes down in July, fights as well as he has been the last few tournaments prior to the neck injury. And he's back in September. Fingers crossed on that. So, sorry to see you go, Ishihara, but very confidently going to say we'll see you again soon. So, Midorifuji, just talking about you, Hernia Man. Good to see you back. Good to see you with a 9-6 at 16 West. So he's fine. The Kachikashi Man is back. He did it at least 3 times, probably 4. Love watching Midorifuji work. I was so happy when he made his way back up here, and like as soon as he started pitching people, I'm like, I remember all of these good feelings that Midorifuji gives me from his sumo. He has, well, all these, I'll call them the small wrestler brigade. Ishihara, Midorifuji, Terutsuyoshi, Ura, Kotoeko. They all have the small man sumo get caught out problem, wherein if somebody gets a hold of you and they're literally twice your size, there's only so much you can do. So, and then it becomes this interesting, how do you deal with it? So like we were just mentioning with Azumaryu, does the double arm clamp Terunofuji style on Midorifuji, and then just forces him out. Midorifuji's host. And it's sort of just this is just the plague of the smaller wrestler. And so that was really the majority of his losses. Wasn't him really slipping. It was just somebody that's like, got a hand on you. Got you now, thief. And then off he goes. So the 9-6, it's a pretty solid statement on the way back. If it was double-digit wins, I probably would have been ecstatic. I'm fine with the 9-6. Would have been fine with the 8-7. And we got our throws. He pitched what it was hilarious. I was watching the last stage earlier this morning, and I see Midorifuji and Tochinoshin wrap up, and I'm thinking in the back of my mind, like, if Tochinoshin gets this belt, he'll be fine. But Midorifuji, he'll do that swing down if he's not careful. And like, just as soon as that thought crossed my mind, Midorifuji hits the swing down, like, yeah! Not because I want to Tochinoshin lose, because it's just like, I've got that, like the last day, you get the Kataskashi, and we're just like, yes! You just love to see it. You love to see the fun sumo. Anyway, Midorifuji, welcome back. And what do you say? Megashira 14? 14, 13, he'll be up there. Starting his climb. Hopefully a return to his former position. And he keeps fighting, getting those 9-6s. He should be up there fine. We'll see where his ceiling is. Next up, Kotokuzan. Oof! I guess somebody has to have a bad tournament. And Kotokuzan drew the short straw. 2-13. So this is, I'm not going to say puzzling, because I was pretty sure Kotokuzan was going to take a trip down to Juryo regardless. I just didn't expect this much of a slapdown in terms of just completely getting dominated. Because he was 7-8, 6-9 on his show up before, and then he was sort of spared by the Banzuke. I expected another 6-9. I expected what Kageyaki got out of him. Maybe a 7-8, and then then you get the 8-7. And you're like, no, he's got it. He figured it out, and that was the story of Kotokuzan. He tried his damnedest. I'll give Kotokuzan the sumo spirit, but it felt like nothing he did mattered. It was baffling. It's like there was a multiple times, like, he was just cracking into people left, right, and then like nothing he did changed the match. It was Sadanoumi and Midorifuji were both very, very similar in that both of them, they got the belt, and then Kotokuzan's just like, no, I'm gonna get you off my belt. Slap. And then the other person doesn't move. They don't get blasted out. They just held on. They just get cracked in the face 6 times, and then they throw Kotokuzan. That's what happened. And like, he was able to push people around in March. I was like, near the end, it was a real head scratch. I'm like, Kotokuzan, like, what happened to your power? Somebody sapped him. And well, needless to say, Kotokuzan is deep into Juryo next tournament. Unfortunately, we're gonna not see him again. He needs to figure some power out. Either he needs to just get them biceps going, or needs to find a better way of translating his power. And 2-13. Just, I'm always happy when it's not a clean sweep. I never want to see an 0-15. Like a 1-14 is already pretty rough. And then so I see the 2-13. I'm just like, you got 2 wins. One over Terutsuyoshi that we talked about before. He beat Hidenoumi. Hidenoumi was the only person that he really pushed out. I'm like, look at that, you can do it. Come on. I was sorry to see you go, Kotokuzan, I guess. So Kageyaki wrapping this up with a double downer. 6-9. So Kageyaki gave me like a little morsel of aggression and power. Like, there's a couple times. It was against Takayama. He gets inside and he drives Takayama out. And this was like day 4. And he's 3-1. I'm like, ooh, did Kageyaki figure something out? Has the puzzle been solved? And then he just dumpsters himself, which is unfortunate. And it's the same Kageyaki story. Forward power can blast people out, And if you get inside or the power doesn't translate, Kageyaki just doesn't have a way to stop you. If you breach his defenses, you just win. It's auto win. Now, I will say, the day 15 win it's promising. Again, like when a win on the last day, like if you're 7-7, you get the win, it means you're hungry for it. He was 5-9 going into the last day. Like, foregone conclusion, he's gone. This fight right here against Kotoeko was just for sumo spirit. So, he's got the spirit. He's trying. He's working on it. But it's just not working. I don't know what to recommend to him. You know, it's sort of just keep him from getting breached in. You're just like, well, these are people who are good at it. So, I'm not an analyst. I'm not going to tell Kageyaki what he needs or what he's missing. He's just in Juryo now, unfortunately. So, farewell, Kageyaki. I still feel like there's something special to him that we have yet to materialize. We'll just see if we get it out of him. All right, so special prizes, as I mentioned, the outstanding performance, the Shukunsho went to Daieisho and Takanosho. The fighting spirit prize, the Kantosho, went to Sadanoumi. All three of the people who were contenders at the last day, incredibly well earned, and all three of them produced significantly awesome sumo. So going over to Juryo, here's what I was talking about when it came to a lot of people coming up. So Chiyomaru 8-7 at 1 East, he's up. Hidenoumi at Juryo 1 West, he's also probably up, particularly because they didn't let him go up in May. He was like a 9-6 down here, and they're like, nah, not yet. So I feel like they sort of owe him. Now they may just push him down to Juryo 1 East, but also keep in mind that he beat. Who did he beat? Did he beat somebody? Yeah, he beat Kageyaki. So usually, what they like these pivot matches that they put somebody in Juryo, they put him up against somebody who's struggling. That was Kageyaki's Makakoshi right here, and then Hidenoumi won. So that's usually a sign that they're gonna put Hidenoumi up. Shurugisho 10-5, definitely up. Double-digit wins at Juryo 2, you're up. Unfortunate to see the Chiyonokuni 6-9. That's still struggling. Unfortunate. Hopefully we get him back. Ryuden 9-6. Here's where things get interesting. I feel like this is enough to get him back up. He's done his penance, air quotes. He beats Oho, by the way, which again, he beat somebody in the top division, at least going back up. So that's 4 people. 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 people, and there's definitely 4 spots. 1, 2, 3, 4. So like that, these 4 here and these 4 there, that's a fairly easy exchange. Where things get interesting is Juryo 6. And here's where those 6 and 9s from Oho and Takayama come into play. So Juryo 6 is usually, like, for me, the mental cutoff seems to be Juryo 5. So Daishoho's 9-6. To an extent, Tohakuryu's 9-6 and lower down means that you're going to be Juryo 1 next tournament. But these guys, double-digit, I believe they fought for the Yusho that Nishikigi won. So this is usually double-digit wins, Yusho contention, you guys go up. So here comes the question, and we're going to figure this out when we get into July. How do you do this? Do you bring all 6 up, and then Oho and Takayama go down to Juryo? Do these people pole vault over either the Ryuden 9-6 or the Hidenoumi 8-7, or both, or neither? There's a lot of people in Juryo who are kicking that door down, and I'm honestly very interested to see how this shakes out. Also, on another sad note, Shoho's on 3-12 at Juryo 12, so he is definitely out of salaried wrestling, which he's fading out into the sunset. It's a shame. Shohozan is, back in the day, he was one of the first people I was like, he's a cool guy. Anyway, that is the May tournament. It was wild fun. Thank you for listening. Thank you for sticking with us. And, well, we'll be back in July. It should be the both of us back together. And we look forward to another round of sumo, and we've got ourselves a good amount of stories to bring us in. So until next time, again, thank you for sticking with us, and farewell.